guess what, George? We have our August winner of the Eton Sora Ruckus.
What do you win?
Anyway, it was Ross Clancy all the way from Ireland.
Oh, potato.
My man, put it on.
Potato McGillicuddy.
And with that, his comment actually was funny as hell. Was if you remember what the ruckus looks like, he said, "I'd go bird watching. I'm presuming this thing doubles as binoculars." And he's got a very good point.
And it was pretty funny.
It won him a free one. Anyway, congratulations, Ross. But now we're talking about September's giveaway.
And this giveaway is a little bit different. This giveaway is not for the funny comments. This giveaway is for you folks to go over to the Blaze page and push it out via tweeting, via Facebook. Get everyone you can. And it appears that when you create your account and you log on and you keep sharing it, over on the right-hand side, it'll show you what level that you're at.
Right.
So now for you people out there who come in first, and by people I mean person,
because we're giving away one of these thanks to SMS Audio. It is the Street by 50.
And you're asking, what are these?
They are some incredibly nice earbuds.
And of course, you guys all know that other company that's very high end and makes a product similar to this. Let's just say one of us at this table, not him, has owned those, and I like these better.
Much nicer. Professionally tuned 11mm drivers, crystal clear sound, obviously. Ergonomically designed with an Apple control mic with volume control, George.
And they also, for you non-Apple fanboys, they also work with Android devices.
Yes, they do. And they have reinforced cable. If you can see, these things are like actually...
And it's flat. So for you people who are used to dealing with round cables who get all twisted up, these guys don't.
They don't do that.
No.
And they have gold-plated connectors.
And on top of that, it's got the volume control as well as the forward and back control. So you can control your iPod and your music.
Best thing of all is they can be yours for nada. And it also comes with 6 silicone passive, canceling tips. George can no longer hear me. And it also has a carrying case, an owner's manual, and a product brochure.
Here's your carrying case. Here's some extra thingamabobbers for the ear tips so they fit
good
better.
stuff. And
I can hear like Matt Hamill.
Yeah, you might want to take those bad boys out. So, you know what I'm saying? So you don't kill me, because I won't be hearing anything the way you're yelling.
So anyway, if you guys want these, all you have to do is go over to our Blaze page, send it out.
Down here, the link to Blaze will be right there.
All your friends and family and friends, and do it every day.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, we'll also have the link to SMS Audio. Check out some of their other products. They
got lots.
They got some really good stuff, actually. So, moving on to the thing that everybody loves to hear us talk about, MMA. MMA. And it doesn't stand for Massive Marshmallow Association.
Doesn't?
No.
Anyway, what Kevin's alluding to is somewhat news. I mean, we've heard, the big news is still the cancellation of 151, blah, blah, blah. That's over. But the other, what I even can see the importance to this.
Okay.
Sarah McMahon, who's an accomplished American wrestling female, got picked up by Strikeforce.
She did. She's 6-0 in MMA.
But what does that tell you? Or does that say anything?
Well, it tells me that they're trying to get a deeper pool of talent in women's MMA. I mean, Sarah McMahon was the only, I guess, someone might correct me if I'm wrong, but the only female wrestler to ever medal in wrestling. American wrestler to ever medal. And she did that. She got a silver medal at the Athens Games. And so she's got some nasty ground game.
You know what I think's more impressive than that?
What?
That Dana White's backing this.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously picked up. I think he wants to bring competition.
I think he's starting to come around to women's MMA. And I think it helps that Ronda Rousey's now become the face. Yeah. Because before it used to be Gina Carano, and then you had Mrs. Ed, and now you have Ronda Rousey.
Well, yeah, you had... I mean, it's funny because Ronda Rousey... Wow. Ronda Rousey is
you think
like
anybody will get that?
It might yeah, it might have been. But Ronda Rousey is really good for female MMA. It's the same
for
reason.
That fucking mole. That mole is not good for women's MMA.
Why are you fixated on that mole, man?
Like right now, you say Ronda Rousey, all I can see is mole. What
movie was that from again?
Yeah, what movie is that from?
Yeah, why don't you people out there tell us what movie is that from? Mole. But she's great for it because she's like Chael Sonnen. I mean, she promotes the fuck out.
But she wins. So no, she's not like Chael Sonnen.
She doesn't have double-digit losses, and she's held a belt. But.
So, how's she like Chael Sonnen again? Yeah.
Maybe not so much like him. But
maybe Chael Sonnen's more like her.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, he doesn't win either. No, okay.
But she can promote fights, and so it's getting some mainstream attention in women's MMA.
They just need a Ronda Rousey at a smaller weight.
Yeah,
because
they
the big names in female MMA are not at 135.
Yeah.
They're at the 115, 120, 125, somewhere in around there. Can I name them? No, but I would just assume because women's MMA is huge in Japan and overseas where the women are just smaller.
So White goes out, signs this girl McMahon, who's basically a bantamweight at 135.
And she's got some. She could step in the Strikeforce right now and have a couple people.
And she might fight as early as November 3rd. And
that would be nasty.
if you guys are familiar with the November 3rd Strikeforce card, Danielle Cormier will be meeting Frank Mir.
Oh, it's +1.
What's that +1?
This is his +1. Like he won the tournament, and then they told him you have one more fight left
Yep.
on your
So
contract.
this is his +1.
So Frank Mir has to fight him.
So it's going to be Frank
Who
Mir.
do you have winning that fight? Just your gut. We'll get into details about it on another show.
I've got Daniel Cormier winning it. I mean, because you know what? This is the whole thing. Let's just talk about there hasn't been any heavyweight action.
No.
All right? So let's talk about the top 5 heavyweights in MMA right now. And we based our thing. We went to Sherdog, we went to Bloody Elbow, and we went to MMA Fighting to look at who they had as their top 5 heavies. And then George and I'll tell you.
And there's a consensus at 1-2. And I can't argue with this. I would agree. JDS is your 1, Cain Velasquez is your 2.
And that is they're what 1 and 2 on every site.
Now after that is where things get interesting because there's a fighter on that none of these websites have listed that I've seen other websites list even as high as 2 and as 3, which is Overroyd.
Right.
And I'm shocked that he's not here. To be honest, I am surprised.
Sherdog had over. Okay, we'll go. Want to go through each one and how they had them?
Sure.
Okay, Sherdog had JDS 1, Cain Velasquez 2.
Oh, there's Overroyd.
Alistair Overeem at 3.
Oops.
Fabricio Werdum at 4, and then Daniel Cormier at 5.
My bad. I noticed MMA Fighting didn't have him.
Oh, yeah. Now, MMA Fighting had Junior Dos Santos 1st, Cain Velasquez 2nd, Daniel Cormier 3rd, Fabricio Werdum 4th, and Frank Mir 5th, which we'll definitely talk about.
And then Bloody Elbow has 3 JDS, Velasquez, Cormier, Overeem, and Werdum. The only guy on this list that I have the biggest problem with is Werdum. I know he's back in the UFC and he's won 2 fights and he's looked impressive and he beat Roy Nelson, but we watched him fight Overeem and he's lost to JDS already. He doesn't do well with strikers, pure strikers.
Right.
I mean, Roy Nelson is sort of a striker, but more of a jiu-jitsu guy, if you ask me.
When I look at it, man, I don't have a problem with Werdum being in the top 5 because he's won 7 of his last 9. I think he's a good fighter, but I have a problem.
I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. What I'm saying is he could be top 5, but I'm like looking at the guys in front of him. He can't beat JDS. He can't beat Cain Velasquez, and we saw what he did against Overeem. So maybe 4 is a good spot for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
unless,
okay.
I'm not saying no. He's definitely top 5, but he does not do well against strikers.
I just don't think Mir. I mean, obviously, Sherdog and Bloody Elbow did not have Mir in their top 5, but MMA Fighting had him sitting at 5. Now, not only that, they had Overeem at 7, and I think like Josh Barnett or something. I don't know why they have Frank Mir at 5.
I can tell you right now, if I put this together, Overeem wouldn't even be on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have him off. I'd have him off the list with an asterisk next to it, and explaining you failed a drug test miserably.
Right.
He was like 10-1. It wasn't even close.
Right.
Like it wasn't like 3-1. He's not even legal to fight in Antarctica at 10-1.
Right.
So that's me. And
because of his recent failure, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Top 5 right now. So right now, Overeem doesn't make my top 5.
Right. Would you have now
due to his failed drug test?
Who would you have in your top 5 right now? I'd have JDS 1.
I'd have Cain Velasquez 2.
I'd have Cain, and this is the reason. JDS is
Nasty.
TKO'd Mir, KO'd Velasquez, and pretty much beat the shit out of everybody else en route to becoming the champion and holding on to the belt.
Yeah, I can't argue that with you.
And he's set to meet Velasquez again in UFC 155.
And I think that's why you almost have to have Velasquez at 2.
And Velasquez dropped Antonio Bigfoot Silva the last time we saw him in action, and he's beat the shit out of everybody, literally by TKO or KO in all of his victories except fucking whatchamajig, Czech Congo.
Now,
he beat him by unanimous.
With this third one, and I think you're going to go with Cormier.
I'm probably going to go with Cormier. Yeah,
and I can tell you right now, if he beats Mir, he's definitely deserving of 3.
Yeah,
I think right now at that 3 spot, because the last time we saw him fight, he fought Barnett. Barnett's got double-digit losses, multiple offenses or failed drug tests. So Barnett's not even in my top 300.
Right.
I mean, he's
But Barnett is a good ass fighter.
He's a good ass wrestler.
But that's okay.
So that's me. I agree. Cormier is deserving of 3 right now, but I could see where some people would want to flip him and Werdum. But if Cormier beats Mir, then he's definitely 3 easy, and then he should get a title shot.
So now let me say, where do you have now? I'd have Cormier at 3. I wouldn't put realistically if I did it, I would probably take a different route than you. I'd have JDS, Velasquez, Overeem, Cormier, and then Werdum. That would be my top 5.
You have Overeem at 3?
I'd have Overeem at 3.
Even with a year off? Or 9 months, 10 months?
Well, he beat Lesnar, Werdum, and Duffy. You know what I'm saying? And then, he went through those guys, and then he went through about 8 bottles of testosterone, Cypionate, and he failed the drug test. But the bottom line is that as of late, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's interesting, though, when he goes to give his urine sample, and he pisses in a cast iron pot.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem. And how good is he going to be clean and having to clean up his ass?
How clean does he have to be, though?
Well, if they fight in Vegas, he doesn't have to be as clean.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or California. Yeah. So he better be lobbying for those. Or imagine if he fights in a state where the Athletic Commission does not care. Texas. Or where an Athletic Commission can't afford it. New Orleans. And New Orleans has come out and said, we'd love to test him, but it's going to fall in the UFC because we don't have the money.
Well, if I'm Dana White, and I know how Dana likes to promote things.
He's fighting in Brazil.
Yeah. Because it's like,
or
what?
Canada.
Yeah, somewhere where they're not going to test because it's like this. He's going to fucking sell tickets. People want to see him fight in the UFC.
Can you imagine on that card with Condit versus GSP if you threw an overroid? Yeah. But I don't think he can get cleared. That's the problem. He was trying to get cleared by the commission to be able to fight this December, and I don't think he's been cleared yet.
Not going to happen.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but so now, you know what? You put him on your New Year's card. If he's clean after the first of the year, I'm telling Overroyd to be like, hey, clean your urine up. You're fighting on the first.
Yeah.
Because that's where he beat Lesnar.
I think he would sell the most tickets, or give him a shot at whoever wins between the second matchup between JDS and Velasquez.
Do you give him a title shot coming off a drug suspension?
Well, maybe you could give him the winner of
Cormier and Mir.
Mir, but you'd have to bring one of those guys over to UFC. See, that's where it's fucked up.
Well, no, they're about Strikeforce is done. This is the last fight, heavyweight fight.
Now, this is the thing. I don't understand this, and Mir is a great MMA fighter. He's had a great career and everything. I just don't understand.
He's the Rich Franklin of heavyweights.
Why does everybody keep him up in the top 5? I mean, he's lost 3 of his last 7 fights, okay? And everybody he's beat, no one is a big standout, right? Not lately, because I know Mir has beat a lot of good people in his career, but lately, in his last 7 fights, his last 4 victories, they're not it's like Nog.
Well, because he broke Nog's arm. He's the first one to ever submit him. That's why everyone's still riding that. Let this motherfucker get knocked out by Cormier.
Yeah, I mean, Cormier's hands are nasty.
Yeah, you know how Cormier wins that fight? By keeping it standing. Because if it goes to the ground, Doughboy's tapping.
You think so?
Yes, he's like the Black Roy Nelson to me.
Dude, you know how good of a wrestler Cormier is?
I understand.
He could arguably be the best wrestler right now.
Ask Brock Lesnar about Frank Mir's ground game.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar's not the athlete that Cormier is. I mean, he's just not. He doesn't have the stand-up. He's too one-dimensional. Brock Lesnar's a straight wrestler.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But athletic-wise, I don't think was a better athlete.
Well, yeah.
When you say athlete.
Yeah. You're right.
Because
he's a good. Brock Lesnar's an incredible athlete.
Here's what I would be afraid of for Cormier, and hopefully somebody.
But doesn't have.
Cormier has way better stand-up. Right. His wrestling, pure wrestling. I'd like to see him and Brock just wrestle. I think that'd be a good wrestling match.
And
I'm not talking about that fake WWE shit. I'm talking about collegiate level wrestling. Mm-hmm. Now, here's what I could see happening. Okay. Cormier coming out, clipping Mir. Okay. Mir going to his back and Cormier being too quick to follow in and getting caught in a submission. I could see that happening.
I think you got to be crafty, man.
Mir's got a black belt and he's nasty off his back. He's nasty on the ground, period. If I'm Cormier and I clip him in the opening,
so sluggish lately. He just has not been impressive.
I understand, but I could see that happening. Will it happen? I don't know.
Who do you think's going to win the fight?
I think Cormier wins it if he uses a level head. If he gets overly excited and rushes in, he could get caught in a submission.
Well, so far from Cormier, that's all I've seen as a level head. The guy, he's a smart fighter. Yeah. And he's fighting. He's obviously training with Cain Velasquez out there. So
and Barnett couldn't get him down.
And Barnett can submit you. He can ground and pound you. He's a bigger guy than Mir.
We'll see.
And arguably has better hands. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's
Barnett looked really sloppy versus Cormier. I mean, really sloppy. Sloppy. That was even sloppy for Barnett. And Barnett's not this crispest, smoothest guy.
I think he's
yes, I know. You like him.
I just think he can be sloppy. I like him as a fighter. I think he's good, but he can be sloppy.
How do you get busted for drugs that many times and have a physique like that? At least you could look like GSP. Like if GSP ever gets fucking busted for steroids, is anyone gonna be surprised? Would you be surprised?
I'd be surprised if he got busted for steroids. Steroids. I'm going to emphasize that again. Steroids. Now, the other...
Are you surprised? Would you be surprised that he got busted for PEDs?
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, when somebody
happen.
looks at Barnett and he's got fucking bitch tits and a fucking gut hanging over his wrestling shorts and he gets busted for test levels...
They're methodically going to do... I mean, GSP, where does he fight all the time?
Canada.
Right.
But surprisingly, he doesn't. I say that a lot, but you go back and look at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he does fight in Vegas. So
well, I never said it. George said it. Anyway.
So that's our top 5. So what's your top 5? How would you put them?
Yeah, where'd you put them?
And while you're at it, why don't you just tell us what's going to happen between Cormier and Mir?
Who you guys have winning in that fight? And we are out of fucking here.
No, we're not. You're going to go over to Blaze. You're going to fucking try to win yourself some headphones.
Yeah.
Now we're out of here.
Yes.